I'm going to take you along with me for a bookish, crafty retreat. Hi, my name is Emily Crow from The Cozy Crow, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today there is chaos on my bed. Well, chaos in my house, but chaos on my bed because I am packing for a trip. I am leaving early tomorrow morning to go all the way to Arkansas to stay at an Airbnb with a couple of friends of mine. We're doing a girlfriend crafty, bookish retreat type of thing. And this is my first trip I've taken without any of my family in a few years. So I'm really excited to be able to step away and just focus on myself and do some self-care. So because this is like a bookish, crafty retreat, I want to make sure that I come prepared. So I've already packed a lot of my bags, but now I need to pick what books I'm bringing, what projects I'm bringing, and trying to be realistic about how much I can get done, especially because I do not have to watch a 4-year-old in the airport or on the airplane. I can spend the whole time doing me stuff, which I'm so excited about. And I actually really like to travel, and I don't mind having waiting time or layovers or whatnot. And so I am coming prepared to get some stuff done while I'm traveling and while I'm at this B&B. So I figured it would be fun to talk about kind of what I'm thinking about bringing, what is reasonable as far as what I'm going to be working on. I leave early Thursday and I come back mid-morning Sunday. So not a super early Sunday, but I'll be traveling a good 5 or 6 hours on Sunday, traveling a good 5 or 6 hours on Thursday, and then in between is the time that I have. So currently I'm charging all of my gadgets. I have a lot of things, and I'm gonna try to bring my gimbal and my microphone set so that I can do a little vlog while I'm there, show you what I work on during this trip. So this isn't just a packing vlog, this is also what I'm gonna be working on, what I'm gonna be reading, things like that. As far as books, because I think that's a little easier for me to figure out what I can accomplish, since I am much more in a knitting and crocheting mood than in a reading mood right now. And so I think I'll have a lot more self-control in bringing books because I know that I'm not going to spend as much time doing that. First of all, of course, I need to bring my Kindle. And if you've seen my channel before, you'll notice that this is a different Kindle case. I recently got a Kindle Colorsoft. My husband got it for me, which is so kind of him, which has been really fun. It's been a few years since I have upgraded my e-reader, and it just works so much more smoothly than my previous Kindle. So I'm really excited about this. And I've recently been getting a lot more e-arcs from NetGalley. I've kind of finished my application for that and been diligent about looking for opportunities there. And so I have a couple e-arcs on here that I want to read. The first one is Wild Reverence from Rebecca Ross, and I read maybe about like 30% of it before the book came out, and I've been very slowly working through the rest of it. Someone is feeling snuggly. And so I've been very slowly working through the rest of it. I'm at maybe like the 75% mark. So I've got a little over 3 hours left of listening on here. So my goal is to finish Wild Reverence on this trip. I would love to knock it off my list because I've been working on it for a really long time. I just read ebooks a lot slower than an audiobook, and it's going to take me months to get the audiobook for Wild Reverence. So I'm just reading my e-arc for that. I also have a couple other e-arcs. So if I happen to finish reading on my Kindle, I have a couple things on deck. I have Brigands and Bread Knives by Travis Baldree. That's coming out in November. It's another book in the Legends and Lattes series, so that'll be a good Kindle read, so I can read that. I also have Heather Fawcett's new e-arc that is coming out, I think, in February. So I've got a couple things on deck that I can read if I happen to finish Wild Reverence, but really I just want to finish that one book. I'm really enjoying it. It's just on the longer side, high fantasy, historical pantheon of gods type of style. I'm really enjoying it. It's just taking me a while, and so I'd love to finish it. The next book that I've already started that I really want to finish is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. This is a library copy. I don't read a lot of print books now just because of when my reading fits into my schedule. I do a lot of audiobooks on the go, driving to and from work. I do read ebooks right before bed as I'm kind of winding down. And so physical books don't get as much attention from me, but I don't have access to any ebooks or audiobooks of this book. And this was my group's book club pick for this past month. And so I'm maybe like 35, 40 pages in. It's only like a 200-page book, so it's not gonna take too long. Oh, hi, Alfred. Giving me a hug. Oh, sweet kitty. I'm filming a video. Now is not the time for a hug. Maybe he can tell I'm going on a trip for a few days. I tried to teach him to be like a shoulder cat and like climb on my shoulders, but we only ever got like halfway up. And so now he'll like give me hugs like this, which is really sweet. Hello, kitty. So I'm really grateful I was able to get the physical book from my library since I couldn't get access to the ebook or audiobook in time to finish this book for our book club. So we're gonna meet while we are there at the Airbnb. And so I really need to power through this. So this is gonna be my on the plane reading or in the airport reading to try to get this done. I don't think it's gonna take super long. I'm gonna try to knock this out. And then my final physical book I'm gonna bring is the selected poems of Emily Dickinson. As part of this book club with this group that I'm a part of, we are rotating through books. See, what book did I put into this rotation? The Last Days of the Dinosaurs by Riley Black, one of my favorites that I read last year, and a very accessible pop culture type of nonfiction about dinosaurs and after the meteor strike, what happened. So really, I love that book. Totally recommend it. I thought that would be fun to kind of send through the rotation. So this is someone else's book that has gone through the rotation and ended up with me. And so I want to finish this so that I can hand it off to the next person at this retreat. That's the plan. I have read like a little bit of Emily Dickinson, but not studiously. And so I'm really excited for this. And I have my little packet of annotation type stuff so that hopefully if I see anything that I really connect with, I can mark it. So I've got some little tabs and I've got some post-it note type of things. So I'm gonna bring this to, we'll be working on this, hopefully getting it done by the end of this retreat so I can just hand it off to the next person. It's been really fun to read books that other people very different from myself are recommending to the group. So those are all the books I'm going to bring. I am gonna bring this little book sleeve that I made, intended for like if I go to work and I bring a physical book to read at work. I'm a nurse, and so if I'm working night shift and people are sleeping and there's not a lot going on, I can sometimes get some reading in. So I'm going to put my physical books in here to kind of protect them. Since neither of them belong to me, I really want to be careful of them. So those are the books I'm bringing. I am gonna have a few audiobooks from Libby that are available. I don't remember what I've got, but I've got a handful that are coming up due soon-ish, like 8 to 12 days. So I have plenty of time to get through them. I am sure I'm going to get through at least one audiobook while on this trip, if not more than that, because I do listen to a lot of audiobooks. Let's talk about crochet and knitting things that I am planning on bringing. First, as part of this retreat, we are each bringing our own craft to share with everybody. And most of the people in this group already know how to knit or crochet, but I thought it would be really fun to bring a pattern of mine that's really not too difficult, that would be a really fun make to share. So I put together little kits that I'll show you of my Wonderland hat pattern. So I designed this a couple years ago. I really love, it's just a simple half double crochet beanie with this really cool brim that I am a huge fan of. And so I printed off copies of the pattern for everybody, and I've put together little kits of yarn that I thought would be appropriate based on yarn weight. Also a variety of textures. They all have wool in them, but some of them are superwash, some of them are like a wool acrylic blend, some of them are a more rustic wool. I've also got like a crochet hook and a little case in here that has a couple different notions. I just thought it would be really fun to give these little kits to everyone, especially because almost everyone in this group already knows how to crochet. So just adding a little bit more to their crafting experience, I thought I would really appreciate that as part of this retreat. And I'm so grateful I get to go on this trip. So I wanted to kind of pay it forward and do something nice for everybody. So I've got some kits. I have an extra one that I can use because there's 3 other girls coming on this trip. So they can pick whichever colors they want. These are all from my stash, which feels really great to be able to get things out of my stash. So we'll see what people pick. And as far as like leftovers, I'm so happy to be using them up. So I'm really excited to be able to like share this pattern that I've made with others. I already made a version of this hat because it's been over a year since I've made a Wonderland hat, just to double check the pattern and see if there's any tips or tricks I want to share. So I'm feeling really good about bringing this pattern with me and leading this kind of a crafting class with these girls. So other than my Wonderland hat kits that I'm going to be sharing for like an all-together experience, personal things I want to bring, I have a sock design that is due for an October box, if I remember correctly. Anyway, my due date is October 19th, so I need to get working on this. I can't show you the yarn yet, but it is a collaboration with Yarnaceous Fibers and Fangirl Fibers, so I'm really excited about that. I'm starting to feel really good about my design concept and where it's going. I just need to power through and finish it up and then finish writing the pattern now that I've already got it all charted out. So that is like a bit of work that I really have to get done, and it would feel really good to maybe even finish one sock on this trip. Like, I really need to prioritize that. Probably what I'm gonna bring with me on the plane is this vanilla DK sock. And this is just a plain stockinette sock with a heel flap and gusset. If you've watched my podcast, then you'll see that I have worked on this, and I finally finished the first sock. This yarn is from Northwoods Fibers. It's a very old color, like from maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but it's called Vintage Halloween. It is in their DK tweed base. I just love this color palette. It's so spooky, and I wanted to make some Halloween socks. So I finished one sock. I barely started the cuff of the second sock. And so this would be a really good portable, mindless project to work on while I'm traveling, like in the airport, on the airplane, when I don't have as much space to kind of spread out and work on something. So I'll probably bring this. I wouldn't be surprised if I finish this on the airplane, but I guess I'm going to be reading a lot of the John Green book. So we'll see how much knitting I get done on my journey to Arkansas, but this is gonna be my plane project. And then what I think is gonna be my final project, because this, I really need to get it done in a timely way so I can make the most use of it. I wanna bring other projects too, but I think I need to prioritize this. So when I'm not working on my mindless sock and when I'm not working on my work sock, I have one fun project that has quite a bit of work done on it, but also needs quite a bit more. And I anticipate getting a lot done on this if this is my only other really big project that I'm working on in my free time while I'm at this retreat. And this is my mom's hug sweater. It's a little bit like scrunched in on itself. It's a little hard to see, but what's cool about this is it is a great sweater for a maternity body or for a breastfeeding person. And so there's like 2 flaps. It's knit flat, which is a little bit annoying. It definitely takes a little bit longer than just doing stockinette in the round, but there's 2 flaps, so it can stretch and like accommodate over a pregnant belly, and also makes it easy to stick a baby under there if you're breastfeeding. It's coming along quite well. I have a bit more of the body to go. That's how much I've done since my podcast. I've been really trying to work on this regularly, even though at this point in time, there's a lot of other projects I also want to work on. I really want to cast on a lot of things, but I'm trying to make sure that I still focus on this. I've got one more repeat of this like section. I think this is about 2 repeats. So I've got one more repeat here, and then I have some like finishing off of the body before some ribbing. And so I don't have that much left in the body before I go on to the sleeves and the collar. So I would love to get, at a minimum, the body all the way done on this sweater before I come home. But it would also be really awesome if I got 2 sleeves or the collar or something, just to really make some good progress on this. And I'm really glad that I noticed this, but I am almost done with this skein of yarn, which is exciting. I've only got one other skein that was wound up in this bag, so I just wound up 2 more skeins. So I should have plenty of yarn for however far I get in this sweater right now. I wouldn't be surprised if I completely finish this little skein that's running out, if I completely finish this skein, and I'm well into this skein. So having an extra is probably more than I need, but since I only am bringing a couple projects, I think my mom's hug sweater is gonna get a lot of attention. At least that's my hope, because I would love to have it done before the end of the month so that I can block it and weave in ends and have it totally ready to wear and enjoy while I am in my 3rd trimester of my pregnancy. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably make sure to grab any other needles or cords that I want for this project so that I am totally ready to go for the rest of this project. So I think I need to do that. I feel like usually I bring more to work on, but potentially I could finish all 3 of these projects within the time available to me. I don't know how much out and about we're going to be doing on this retreat. Again, we only have like 2 full days and then like the evening that we all get there to really get stuff done, plus my journeying in the airport and on airplanes. So I think I have plenty to work on as far as reading and knitting goes, but we'll just have to see. Like I said, I'm going to take you with me so that you can see the things that I'm knitting, the things that I am reading, so we can kind of enjoy this little retreat together. We are here. We have made it to our B&B. There's this really cool like multi-level deck boardwalk type area to go down to the river. So that's what you can see in the background. Really, really beautiful. I love the outside atmosphere here. I love hearing all the critters. We are in rural Arkansas and I'm so happy to be here. I just wanted to do a little update on the things that I've been reading and knitting during my travels, and then what I'm planning to do for the rest of the day. It is Thursday afternoon, so got a little bit of time before dinner. I'm not sure if we have any other plans for the day. All 4 of us are moms that are here, and so not having to parent means that the world is our oyster right now. I was able to actually finish Everything is Tuberculosis, which is really exciting. I finished this on my second flight. I only had like 50 pages left after my first flight. So then for the second flight, while we were taking off and gaining altitude, whatnot, I was finishing this up. I would say, I think I would rate this a 4. I think this was good. I think this is a really good intro to tuberculosis. There's definitely, you can tell, some well thought out research into the history and the science behind it. I think the claim that everything is tuberculosis is a little bit of a stretch in the way that John Green wrote it. I feel like I wanted more historical context and even a little bit more medical context even about tuberculosis and its impact on society. There was definitely some talk about, racism and poverty and things like that, but I just wanted more. I wanted more about it. I think that this is a really good introduction for someone who doesn't have a historical or medical background to tuberculosis. I also feel like a lot of this book revolved around a specific person named Henry that John Green had met in Sierra Leone and his journey with tuberculosis treatments. I found that really interesting, but it took up such a big chunk of this book that I feel like in comparison to the history and the medical knowledge, I just wanted a little bit better balance and more of that history and medical knowledge about tuberculosis. I did definitely learn some things, and I think it had some good points to make about how our society in a global context has shaped this disease to what it is now, and how our decisions and behaviors and viewpoints about tuberculosis have created an instance where now there's multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, where while we have some treatments that are really effective, they are not accessible to the people that are most affected by tuberculosis, and that we aren't investing money and research into coming up with more varieties of treatments and more accessible treatments. Lots of good points, a great intro, but definitely was missing some of the substance that I want when I am reading a nonfiction. So I feel really glad that I finished that so that we can talk about this book during our book club meeting sometime during this week. I also was able to start the Selected Poems of Emily Dickinson. I've just barely started it. It is like over 250 pages, not super long, but because it is poems, I think I have to do it in a lot of little chunks. So I'm currently on page 9. So I'm hoping to get more reading done in this and just kind of whittle away at it. But I do really like Emily Dickinson's style, and in reading the foreword or the introduction, I definitely agree that she has a specific way of writing poetry that's very distinctive. And so I'm really excited to dive into that. I've already highlighted one poem that I really liked, and they're not necessarily named or grouped in any specific way according to her, because most of her poems were published after she passed away. But this poem I really liked. It says, "If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain." I thought that was a nice sentiment. But yeah, I'm gonna keep reading this, keep working my way through it, hopefully finish it during this week. But what I'm gonna do right now, I'm going to work on some knitting and listening to my audiobook. I did start To You at the Altar by Rebecca Thorne. This is the third book in the Teas and Tomes series, and this is a cozy fantasy about a Queen's Guard and the Archmage, I think is what her title is. Anyway, in the first book, they run away together and they decide to leave the Queen's grasp. They end up in this really small mountain town. It's really, really cute. And in this book, they are preparing for their wedding. I don't quite know what the basis of the plot's going to be yet in the book. I'm still pretty early on, so I'll have to update you on that. But that is the audiobook that I'm going to be starting with on this trip. As far as the knitting that I got done, I did get a little knitting done. Well, actually, it kind of looks like a lot, but on our drive out here, because it was like an hour and a half from the airport, I barely finished the heel of my Halloween sock. So this is the second sock. I should have no problem finishing this pair before we leave to go home, but I was maybe in this yellow part of the cuff. I just barely cast on and had a couple rounds done, and that was it. I finished the cuff, I finished the leg, and I just barely finished the heel. I was starting to pick up my gusset stitches, and then we arrived, so I dropped everything. So I should probably finish picking up my gusset stitches so I don't lose my needles and get confused on where I'm at. And then I want to put this down and work on the sock design that I have. I have already downloaded the graph that I made onto my phone as a picture so I can reference that, but I want to make some progress on the foot of this sock. It is a toe-up sock, and I would love to finish my gusset today. I don't know if I'll get that far in this sitting, but I will for sure be working on the foot of the sock, and then we'll see how much farther I get in that pattern design of mine, making sure that I really like the graph as it's written. I already feel really good about the construction of the sock because I've designed a few toe-up socks before, but making sure that I like how the graph is coming out, since I've already done a few iterations of this and ripped them out, I feel like this is going to be exactly what I'm looking for, but we gotta make it and see. So I would love to make some good progress on that, and I'll probably listen to more of my Rebecca Thorne book. But seriously, like, the weather is so perfect, and hearing all the little like critter noises and the breeze, it's just lovely out here. I definitely needed this break.
I like to grab the tip of it with like 3 or 4 fingers, and I like flick it, but you can also roll it across your thigh. Just make sure you're going in the same direction. And just keep going, and when you really get into it, you can do kind of all that stuff at the same time.
Okay, so I finally finished the sock design I was working on. I didn't beat my ends. I'm just gonna take a break and we will get back to that the next work day I have. But that means I can work on the sweater. And according to the pattern, sorry, I need to block this so that it lays nice. But according to the pattern, I'm about ready to start the ribbing. I have a long torso, and with the baby bump too, I think I could get away with making it a little bit longer. So I'm just trying it on so I can decide how much longer I want it to be. Because, ooh, ribbing for my size, oh, it's actually going to be pretty thick now that I think about it. I think it's 8 repeats of 2 rounds. So it'll be a good chunk. And after I block this, that might actually, maybe I will just follow the pattern. I don't know. I'll go ask my friend's opinion, but it's looking really good. I just want to make sure that, like, with the bump, it's still working well. And this, ooh, that's another point. I don't know how much more this will come up when it has a collar on it. So maybe I need to pivot and do the collar. I still think I'm getting pretty close though. Look at that. I've not checked in a lot because we've been having so much fun. This vacation was not long enough. It was just so nice to leave behind all of our cares and responsibilities from our normal lives and to just come together and enjoy some time as friends and enjoy some time crafting and reading, learning from one another, and just enjoying each other's company. Like, it's just been so nice and such a good break. And honestly, I haven't spent time in Arkansas, but it's been beautiful. Like, the weather has been like mid-70s. We went on like canoes and kayaks, so fun, and it was perfect weather. There was so much wildlife and it was so green. It was just so nice. And then we went to a consignment shop after lunch. It was amazing. Like, thrift store prices, but really high quality secondhand goods. Got tons of stuff for baby boy, which was really exciting. So I think we're just about all set for him and what he needs. It was just so fun to go thrifting with friends. I taught crocheting this afternoon, and really cool to see people getting the hang of things. One of our friends led us in some singing. We learned some songs from her. She brought sheet music for us, and we were able to sing some rounds, some really cool like folky tunes that were just like such a vibe to sing outside. That's like all good things. You've seen some like montages of some foods, a little bit of activities, some crafts that we've been doing. I have not been able to talk a lot on this vlog, but it's been really great to be in the moment. So right now I am working on the hem, on the ribbing of my sweater. I'm just gonna go for it, see what happens. Worst case scenario is I have to add a little bit of length, but it won't be too hard because this pattern is pretty simple. Probably what I'll have to do is follow the pattern as written, do the collar, do the sleeves, block it, and then see how I like the fit. If I want it a little longer or if I think it is plenty long. We'll find out. But I am just getting to like a good stopping point, then I'll go to bed. And tomorrow will be another travel day to get home. Once I'm done traveling, so probably not tomorrow, because tomorrow's Sunday, I'll be spending time with family, but probably Monday, I'll do a rundown and let you know everything that I was able to work on and was able to read, and also do a little show and tell of the crafty things that we were able to do as a group. We did a craft share, so each of us brought a craft to share with one another, maybe do some teaching or just like lead us in activities. So I have lots of like new craft supplies and things that I've started making that I'm really excited about. All right, I am back from my trip. I got back yesterday and I don't feel great today. I don't know if it's like post-traveling, whatever. I did wear a mask in the airport, so I'm hoping I didn't catch anything, but you never know, I guess. So we're just taking it easy. My daughter also happens to have a stomach bug, unrelated to how I'm feeling a little gross. So yeah, we're just home. And I figured it would be really fun to talk about everything that I was able to read, everything I was able to make, all the craft shares that we did, and just kind of do a little rundown of my trip. I hope you enjoyed watching the little montage. I have never really been to Arkansas, and it was such a fun time. Like, perfect time of year. The weather was perfect. So many fun little like local things, and just enjoying the simple moments type of a trip. And it was so nice, so needed. I love being home, but I also feel like it was a little too short. It would have been nice to spend another day or two. Let's talk first about the things that I read on this trip, including the travel time on both ends of my trip. Okay, first and foremost, this worked out really well. This case that I made, I have 2 books comfortably in here, and I actually like the way that the fabric is stretching. I have it on the tightest setting right now, and so I'm thinking I probably made this too big for one book, but I was trying it out and I'm still going to use it. It's doing a good job at protecting the books that I've got. So the books I had in here were the books that do not belong to me. Hi, Alfred is wanting a hug right now. Alfred, you are too cute and yet still annoying. First book, library book, Everything's Tuberculosis. I was like 30 or 40 pages in when I had to return it to the library last time. Thankfully, my hold came in and I was able to grab this right before my trip, and I just pounded through it. This is what I did on most of my travel there to Arkansas, was read this book, and it's a little less than 200 pages, so I was able to finish it before I arrived in Arkansas. So that felt really good. And I was able to talk about it with a couple of the people on this trip, since this was the book for our book club. So I'm really glad I had that finished so we could have some good conversations about that. I feel like it's a good introduction to the concept of tuberculosis in a medical setting, in a historical setting, in a global perspective, but I also feel like it was missing a lot of what I'm looking for in a nonfiction. It definitely leaned a little bit more towards a memoir, partly because of the way that John Green writes, but partly because of how much of the story was centered around Henry and Henry's specific experience with tuberculosis. This is a good nonfiction for people who don't read nonfiction, but for someone who likes nonfiction, likes microhistories and niche stories, I just wanted more of a historical background to tuberculosis, though I feel like John Green in general did a really good job with his research. And then the next book, I did not finish this, unrealistic, but my goal was to finish this book. This is The Selected Poems of Emily Dickinson. And I just found that, how far am I in this now? I'm 35 pages. I just found that mentally, I couldn't just like read and like knock out pages. I had to sit and dwell with the poetry, and I don't really read poetry. In retrospect, I should have guessed that I would not be able to finish this in like 2.5 days. I'm slowly making my way through this. It's nice to sit down and just read for like 20 minutes. I have a couple of the poems or lines that are tabbed that just made more of an impression for me. I'm really enjoying it. I just need to go slow. So that wasn't realistic to bring this on this trip, but at least I got a start because I hadn't started this book yet. and I hope to continue reading it. I don't think I'll finish in October just because we're almost halfway through the month, but maybe if I like make a point to read a little bit every single night before bed, then maybe I can get this done this month. I found that I've really enjoyed Emily Dickinson's style of writing, and I'm not super familiar with her, so this is really good for me to stretch and read her work, and that counts as a classic, which is one of my goals of reading for this year, is to read more classics. Then I also was really hoping I could finish my arc for Wild Reverence. I have it on my Kindle, and I was not able to make much progress. I was just much more in a making mood and visiting with people, and you can't really read while you chit chat. So I got through about 10% of this book, and I had about 30% left. So I've got about 20% to go. So a little over 2 hours of reading, 2.5 hours, I think. So not too much longer. I really want to finish this month so I can move on, because I feel like I've been reading this ebook for a very long time. This is not the type of book that is good for me on an ebook, since I really like to read ebooks right before bed. And having this big epic fantasy, not the best book for me to read right before bed. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited to finally finish it soon. And then finally, I did have an audiobook that I was reading while on this trip, and the book that I was reading next from my Libby Holds was To You at the Altar by Rebecca Thorne. And this is the third book in the, Tomes and Tea series. It's a quartet. And so I'm almost done with the series, which feels really nice. I got these really pretty sprayed edges. This book, throughout my travels, especially on my trip back, I didn't want to do any of my work stuff because it was a Sunday when I was traveling home. And so I was doing more like fun or recreational stuff just for my personal values. And so I was doing a lot of reading of this while I was knitting on fun projects. Alfred, stop climbing on me. And so I got about 80% of the way through this book, and I'm almost done with it. This morning I've been listening to it, and I'm really close to finishing, so it'll be good to check it off the list. But I got about 80% of the way done with this book through the listening that I did while on this trip. Lots of listening while traveling. I am feeling okay about it. I think that as the series goes along, I'm not necessarily falling more in love with the series. I'm still enjoying it, but my enjoyment isn't increasing as I continue to read, if that makes sense. So probably this will be around a 4.25 stars, kind of the vibes I'm feeling. Last time I updated you on this, because I was only like 10% of the way in last time. This story is about Canth and Raina preparing for their wedding in their little mountain village that they've been living in. And, you know, you see friends from other books coming in and kind of traveling for this wedding. There's a plot to overthrow the Queen Tulane, because she is cruel. And so you learn more about this plot and their parts of it and what they plan to do and things like that. So that's been kind of fun. Though I'm not super connected with the story, I'm still enjoying it, and I plan to finish this today. So that's everything that I was reading on this retreat. Let's talk about everything that I made. I do in fact have a finished object, which is exciting. Oh, I didn't block these yet. Yesterday on my trip back, I finished my socks. These are perfect, like DK vanilla socks. So easy, and I've knit so many socks that I could do this very mindlessly. And so I basically knit, for the second sock, all of the gusset and almost the entire foot on just the drive to the airport. It was like an hour, 15 minutes maybe. And so then I saved the last like toe a little bit for in the car driving home. So I have finished these. I've woven in all my ends. I just need to block them. So I should do that right now. I wanted to wait and like talk about them before I like dismantled my project bag, but I can do that, which is really exciting. So I need to find something else small and portable to cast on. Oh, I need to cast on my gnome for October. Maybe that'll be the next project. Let's talk about another sock. I wasn't showing this earlier in the video, but the pattern will be out and the yarn will be revealed by the time this video comes out. And so I'm gonna show it to you here. So this is my, I don't have a final name, but the spooky tree socks, I guess. It's so hard to see the texture. You have to see it in like the best lighting, but there's a a tree trunk right here with some cool branches. Very spooky. I love these colors together. The yarn is from Yarnaceous Fibers. So she'll have kits available for this pattern, but basically the socks are going to be mirrored one another. So the trunk is going to be in the middle and branches will go out. It is very subtle. And like I said, in the right lighting, you can see the texture really well. I finished one sock on my trip, which was my big goal. And then timing wise, I realized I don't have a lot of time to get this pattern done and ready for Maggie. And so today I have casted on the second sock and I'm going to try to get through as much as I can, double checking the pattern. Hopefully I'll get a good picture in the best kind of lighting for this of the branches going outward, but I'll have to play around with my camera and see kind of what lighting will give the best result to notice that texture. So that's exciting. I need to make lots of progress on this today, but I did reach my goal of finishing an entire sock on my trip. Right, the final project I have to share also got some good progress on it, and it's starting to get really big and I'm excited. Though I wasn't quite sure for my mom's hug sweater exactly how long to make it because I have a longer torso than most people in my size. And so I was thinking about adding length. It looked all right, the length that was included in the pattern, but I didn't want to commit. So what I did is after I did the ribbing and just like followed the pattern exactly as written, I put it on barber cords. And so, and I tied the rest of my little skein to that barber cord so that I can still try it on. I'm going to block this and then we will see how it hangs, how it drapes, how I like it, because I also don't want this to be like covering my butt and like super duper long, like a tunic after the baby bump is gone. So just trying to find like the perfect medium where it's very flattering for my bump now and it'll be flattering after I have this baby. Gonna kind of play around with that, but my plan is to block it. So I think I'm gonna do the same thing for the sleeves too, and just put the sleeves on plastic cords when I am totally done with the sleeves as written. And then I can block and then try it on and see how I like the fit and how I may want to adjust. I finished the length as written in the pattern. Woo! This stitch marker is from my last podcast. And then I also did the collar. I picked up the collar right as we were landing. And so I had to like quadruple check my stitch counts right as we were landing here in Salt Lake City. And then in the car, I worked on this some, and I also worked on this yesterday just while I was lounging about, spending time with family, things like that. And while it's a turtleneck, it doesn't go up super, super high. Like it kind of stretches enough. So I think it's more of like a mock neck fit and I still like it. I was a little concerned because I'm not a super turtleneck person, but I was liking how the fit looked on me. So again, we'll see after we block if we need to rip things out. If anything, I might rip out part of the collar just to make it a little shorter. I don't think I need to add length at all, but just for my personal preference and fit. We'll see what happens after blocking. So that's ready to go. I'm so excited. You can see it definitely needs a good block to help this ribbing lie flat. So I'm about ready to pick up sleeve stitches, which is exciting. I've not even looked at the sleeve instructions yet. Yay, I'm getting close. So maybe this week, next week, I'll be able to block this and then see what final changes I need to make to be able to have a cute, wearable maternity style sweater. And I have plenty of yarn left, so probably we'll make something for baby boy as well with the leftover yarn. So that'd be cute to be a little matching moment. So I definitely brought too much yarn. I was thinking that I had an extra skein beyond what I thought I would even work into, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I think my expectations for what I would work on for that project were pretty close to what actually happened. All right, the final exciting things to share with you about this trip. It was a bookish crafting type of retreat since we're all in the same virtual book club and we all are very crafty people and like to do things with our hands. And so each of us brought a craft to share with the group, which was honestly such a fun idea, a great way to get an opportunity to teach one another and to share things that we're passionate about and to have just like these cute little activities that were kind of open-ended and not super rigid in the itinerary, but things that we could look forward to doing later on in the day that we're like, oh yeah, let's make sure to do that craft share or whatever. So it was actually really, really nice. I love that idea. I was so glad that Angela suggested that. And so I shared a crochet hat pattern. And everyone was doing good. And it was so nice to hear people say that I was being patient and that it was their best experience trying to learn crochet. And everyone made it, I would say maybe like in the time that we had, halfway through the circle at the top, because you start magic ring, you work your way out to the right circumference, and then you just work straight down. So they were getting the hang of it. They were getting the hang of reading a pattern, because even though a few of them had crocheted a little bit in the past, the proficiency wasn't there, and so there was a lot to learn. So it definitely stretched all of us, I feel like, to do this, but I was really impressed with how everyone picked it up and how everyone was able to start to read their stitches and get the hang of, you know, tips and tricks to make it an easier process for them. Being that this beanie is like almost entirely half double crochet until the brim, this was a good project to like really get used to doing that stitch and increasing in that stitch and counting your stitches and just getting the hang of things until you get to the exciting part. So we'll see who on their own gets to the brim first, that I can help in like a video call. I mean, it looks intimidating. It's also all the same movements. It's kind of like how knitting is all just knits and purls, but sometimes with a little bit of flavor to it. Crochet is just like yarn over and pulling through the loops. It just depends on what order you do all those steps. So it looks intimidating, but it's not too hard if you are used to the nomenclature of crochet and are like paying attention to where you're putting your hook. So I'm excited to see how people do. And it was a nice way to like unload some of my yarn stash that I thought would make good hats. And so that felt really good to put it towards a good cause. So that was my craft share. One of my friends brought choral music for us, so we were singing in the rounds, and that's not exactly a craft, but that was also a fun like communal activity to do, which was really, really nice. That same friend brought some dried flowers and supplies so that we can make these cute pictures. And while one of the girls ended up doing like little fairies, like a little fairy scene, most of us did this puzzle type of setup where we just tried to fill in the gaps aesthetically with the different types of flowers. This was so fun, and having these fall colors, they're so beautiful. It was just like a nice, relaxing type of craft that we all got to share together. And I would love to make things like this with different color palettes for different seasons or different holidays, maybe making different pictures and like artistic expression. This was so fun and very accessible for all of us to be working on from an artistic standpoint. Definitely more fiddly, and we used tweezers to kind of place things, and if you like breathe, then things would move, which was so funny. But this was really fun to do. Another friend brought embroidery supplies, and so we have this bag, one more chapter, Ladies Literati Book Club, which is the name of our book club. And I have my supplies all like tucked in there. We didn't get a chance to actually work on the embroidery very much while we were there, so I just have it all like tucked away in a packet. So this will be fun to do. There's also some scrap cotton that we can play around with to kind of get an idea of what we want to do. I have no ideas yet, but this will be really fun to play around with. And I've always wanted to do embroidery, so this is perfect. Like I said, the trip was just a little too short. And then one of our friends brought supplies for spinning with drop spindles. And again, like I have a little bit of fiber, just like little pigtails, teeny tiny things. And I've wanted to learn how to spin, and I just like have not done it yet. It just seemed really intimidating. And it was so nice having a lesson with her. And I'm really proud of this that I made. It's not called yarn yet because this is just single ply, but I'm really feeling proud of it. It's like this beige color with like little tints of pink. I don't know how well you can see that. Totally my color palette. I don't know what I'm going to make with it, but I need to keep going and practicing this, using up my fiber, and then I'll have to apply it together and make yarn. She also showed us how to make it into yarn, making a 2-ply yarn. I might have to do a little refresher. We'll see. But I am so excited about this and having a new fiber skill under my belt. Well, not totally under my belt because I definitely need to learn a lot. Fiber is just such a different world than knitting or crochet, and I'm excited to learn and dive in. There's certain types of fiber as far as like colorings and things that I could see myself spinning up and using in projects, whereas I'm not as much of a like barber pole, spin cycle type of an aesthetic, though I'm not totally against it. It doesn't fit me as well, but doing like a tonal or a more natural style color is really the things that I like. And so I think I'll get some good use out of this. It'll be cool to see. Maybe this will be like color work on a hat or something. We'll see how much yarn I end up with when it's all said and done. So there's a little rundown of my trip to Arkansas, my little retreat with some friends. It was so much fun. So nice to go on a trip by myself. I haven't done that in a really long time. And just enjoying the sisterhood we have with other crafty, bookish people. And it was fun seeing old friends and new friends and just everything in between, getting to enjoy the beauty of the world around us, being somewhere kind of rural. And it was just a beautiful experience, and I highly recommend, even if you feel like you don't have a lot of friends in real life like I do, that you connect with the people that matter to you and you're open to experiences like this where you're meeting new friends, because there's just something so enriching about doing that. I need to clean up all of my makes and all of my reading from this trip. I've cleaned up everything else by now, but thank you so much for joining me for this vlog as I shared this special retreat, the things that I packed, as well as what I actually got a chance to work on. And for my friends that might be watching this vlog, thank you so much for inviting me on this trip. I had such a fun and beautiful time, and I hope that you enjoy the little like montage-y section in the middle where I showed just little snippets of our wonderful weekend together. If you like watching bookish and yarny content like this, other vlogs and videos on what I'm up to, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification down below to be notified every time I post a new video. And until next time, happy reading and happy making. Bye!